Part 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a man inquiring about booking a venue for a party and an events coordinator. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good afternoon, Oak Tree Events. This is Alice speaking.
Hi, Alice. I'm looking to book a room for a family gathering later this year.
Wonderful. I can certainly help you with that. Let me just open the booking system. Can I take your name first?
Yes, it's James Prescott.
Is that Prescott?
No, just one T at the end. It's a common mistake.
Thank you, Mr. Prescott. And what kind of event are you looking to hold? Is it a birthday?
It's actually a retirement party. It's for my father. He's finishing work after 40 years.
Oh, congratulations to him. And do you have a specific date in mind?
We were looking at the first weekend of June. Ideally Saturday the 14th.
Let me check. I'm afraid the 14th is fully booked with a wedding. We have the Sunday free.
Sunday isn't great for people traveling. How about the Friday, the 13th?
Yes, Friday the 13th of June is available.
Great, let's go for that then.
Lovely. And roughly how many people are you expecting?
We originally thought about 50, but a few relatives are overseas. So it's looking more like 40 now.
That fits perfectly in our garden room. And can I take a contact number for you?
Sure, it's 07789 452 882.
07789 452 882.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading my old work number. The last 3 digits are actually 883.
Got it.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, let's talk about food. We offer a buffet service or a sit-down meal.
My father prefers something formal, so we'd like a sit-down meal.
Okay, we usually do a roast dinner for these events. Beef or chicken?
A roast would be perfect. Everyone loves that.
Excellent. Are there any dietary requirements we need to know about? Vegetarian or vegan?
No vegetarians, but my niece has a severe nut allergy, so the kitchen needs to be very careful.
Noted. A nut allergy. We have strict protocols for that, so it won't be a problem. Now, regarding entertainment or equipment, will you need a sound system?
We won't need a DJ, but my brother wants to say a few words. So we will need a microphone set up.
Just a microphone?
Yes, that's all.
Fine. And for decorations, we provide white tablecloths, but you are welcome to bring extras.
We're planning to bring some balloons.
Okay, what colors? Just so we can match the napkins.
We're going for blue and silver.
Very classy.
Finally, how much is the deposit to hold the date?
Usually it is £100, but because you are booking the larger garden room, it is £120.
That's fine. Can I pay that over the phone?
Yes, of course.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 1.
Part 2. You will hear the manager of a recently renovated public park giving a welcome talk to a group of visitors. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to Greenwood Park. We're delighted you could join us today to see the results of our 2-year renovation project. It's been a long road, but we think you'll agree it was worth it. Now, looking at the map of the grounds, we are currently standing here at the main gate at the bottom of the map. The first building you see directly in front of you, as you walk through the gates, is the old gatehouse. We used to use this for storage, but it has been converted into the ticket office. So if you haven't bought your pass yet, you head straight there to the square building in the center. Now, if you look to your left, just inside the entrance, you'll see a long, rectangular building. That was originally going to be the cafe, but we decided to make it the gift shop instead. It's quite large, so we have plenty of space for souvenirs. For those of you who love flowers, you'll want to head to the Rose Garden. To get there, walk past the ticket office and take the path that curves to the right. Follow it all the way to the oval area in the east corner of the park. It's a bit of a walk, but it smells divine this time of year. I know many of you are looking for a cup of tea. We have a brand new cafe. It's actually located directly behind the ticket office. You just walk around the back of the ticket building, and you'll see the cafe there, with the outdoor seating area facing the water. Finally, for the more adventurous, we have the boat hire. You can't miss the large lake in the center of the park. The boat hire station is on the far side of the lake, directly opposite the entrance. You have to walk all the way around the water to get to the small hut at the very top of the map.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Regarding our opening times, we used to open at 9 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. all year round. However, we've listened to feedback. While the winter hours remain the same, we are now keeping the gates open until 9 p.m. during the summer months, June through August, so you can enjoy the lighter evenings. We have also added a new facility called the Adventure Zone. This is separate from the toddler play area. We found that older kids were getting bored, so the Adventure Zone is designed specifically with climbing walls and rope courses. It's perfect for energetic kids, though perhaps a bit too challenging and unsafe for the really little ones. I must remind you of a few rules. We want everyone to enjoy the space. You are welcome to have picnics on the grass, please do, and we love seeing dogs, provided they are on leads. However, we have had a few accidents recently, so we have introduced a strict ban on cycling on the pedestrian paths. If you cycle here, please leave your bike at the racks by the gate. Looking ahead, we have a busy calendar. Next Saturday, we were hoping to host the annual marathon, but that has been moved to next month due to scheduling conflicts. Instead, next Saturday we will be hosting a farmers market where local growers will be selling cheese, bread, and honey. Do come along. Finally, if you use the park often, consider joining our Friends of the Park scheme. It costs £20 a year. It doesn't give you free parking, I'm afraid, that money goes to the city council, but it does entitle you to 20% off everything you buy in the cafe, which certainly adds up if you visit us regularly. Thank you, and enjoy your visit.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 2.
Part 3. You will hear two students, Chloe and Jack, discussing a case study they are preparing for an urban planning seminar. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Hi Jack, have you had a chance to look at the slides for our presentation on the Broad Street traffic scheme?
Yeah, I looked at them this morning. I think it's coming together.
Good, I'm glad we picked this topic.
Me too. Originally I wanted to do the one on the subway system because it's right next to the university, so it would be easy to visit.
True, but the Broad Street scheme is so much more interesting. I mean, the newspapers have been writing about it every week for months. It's really controversial.
Exactly. That debate makes it a better case study than a successful project would be.
So, looking at the first section, the objectives. I've written that the council introduced the scheme to stop accidents.
Well, that was part of it. Safety was definitely a factor. But if you look at the official proposal documents, the number one priority was pollution. The nitrogen levels were illegal.
Oh, right, so improving air quality was the main aim, and safety was secondary. I'll correct that.
Then for the methodology, sadly we didn't have time to interview the shop owners.
No, and I didn't fancy standing on the street corner counting cars in the rain, either.
I don't blame you. It's a good thing the city council publishes all their traffic reports online. Using their official stats is probably more reliable anyway.
Definitely. Now, regarding the results. I was looking at the economic impact.
I know, everyone predicted that banning cars would kill the local shops.
That's what I expected to see. But look at this, retail revenue actually increased by 15% after the pedestrian zone was finished.
I know, I was amazed by that. I thought for sure profits would drop.
It just shows that walkers spend more money than drivers.
We should definitely highlight that.
By the way, did you speak to Dr. Evans about our draft?
I did. He said the structure was fine and the timing was good.
Did he say anything about the content?
Yeah, he felt we were relying too much on our own opinions. He wants us to back up our arguments with more citations from academic journals.
Okay, so we need more references. We can add those in the bibliography.
And finally, the conclusion. Do we think the scheme worked?
Well, it didn't solve the traffic problem completely, it just moved it to other roads.
True, but it's not a failure. It just needs tweaking.
I agree. It's a step in the right direction, but they need to adjust the traffic light timing on the side streets.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Right, let's go through the slides one by one and decide what needs fixing.
Okay, slide 1 is the introduction.
It looks a bit bare, doesn't it? Just bullet points.
Yeah, since we're talking about a specific location, people need to see where it is relative to the city center.
Good point. I'll find a map and paste it in there. It needs a picture.
Then we have the budget analysis.
I did that part. I listed the projected costs versus the actual spend.
I checked your numbers against the spreadsheet. I think you've made a typo in the final total. It says 2 million, but it should be 2.5 million.
Oh, really? I'd better double check the figures then. I don't want to present incorrect data.
Next is the resident survey results.
Wow, there is a lot of text on this slide.
I know. I copied the quotes from the interviews, but it's impossible to read from the back of the room.
We need to cut it down. Just summarize the main points in 3 or 4 lines.
Agreed. And finally, the future recommendations.
I think this slide is fine. The text is clear, the graph is good.
I'm not sure about the graph. It shows the traffic flow for 2025, but the axis labels are wrong.
Are they?
Yeah, it says volume, but it should be speed.
Oh, well spotted. I'll need to verify that and correct the graph labels so they are accurate.
Great. Let's get that done and meet tomorrow to practice.
That is the end of part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers to part 3.
Part 4. You will hear a lecture about the history and science of glass manufacturing. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning. Today we are continuing our series on materials science by looking at one of the most versatile and ubiquitous materials in human history, glass. Now, we tend to think of glass as a manufactured product, but it does actually exist in nature. The most common form is obsidian, which is created during volcanic eruptions when lava cools very rapidly. Archaeologists have found evidence that prehistoric humans used this black, natural glass not for windows, but for tools, specifically for cutting meat and hides, because it holds an incredibly sharp edge. However, true glass manufacturing, where humans mix ingredients to create the material, didn't begin until much later. We believe the first man-made glass was produced in Mesopotamia or Egypt around 3500 BC. At this early stage, the technology was very primitive. Glass was not transparent, and it couldn't be shaped easily. Therefore, it was primarily used to make small decorative items, such as beads for jewelry, rather than practical vessels like bowls or cups. The real revolution in glass happened under the Roman Empire. In the 1st century BC, Syrian craftsmen invented the technique of glass blowing. By using a long metal tube to blow air into molten glass, they could create thinner, cheaper, and more complex shapes. This technology spread rapidly across the empire. It transformed glass from a luxury item into an everyday commodity. Significantly, the Romans were also the pioneers of using glass in buildings. They were the first to use it for windows, primarily in their public bathhouses to keep the heat in, though the glass was thick and cloudy, so you couldn't see through it clearly. Let's move forward to the Middle Ages. By the 13th century, the Italian city of Venice had become the global capital of high-quality glassmaking. The Venetian government was very protective of this industry. In 1291, they ordered all glassmakers to move their foundries out of the main city and onto a nearby island known as Murano. Historians argue there were two reasons for this. Firstly, it kept the secrets of the craft isolated. But secondly, and perhaps more importantly, the wooden buildings of Venice were very crowded. The furnaces used to melt glass reached incredibly high temperatures, creating a constant danger of fire, which could have destroyed the entire city. Now, let's jump to the modern era. For centuries, making perfectly flat, clear glass for windows was difficult and expensive. It required grinding and polishing the surface. That changed in 1959 with the invention of the float glass process by Alistair Pilkington. His insight was brilliant in its simplicity. To make the glass perfectly flat, he poured the molten glass onto a bath of molten tin. Because tin is a liquid metal, it has a perfectly flat surface, and the glass floats on top of it, settling into a flat sheet as it cools. This revolutionized the industry because it removed the labor-intensive step of polishing. Today, roughly 90% of the world's flat glass is made using this method. Finally, looking to the future, the glass industry is focusing heavily on sustainability. Glass is 100% recyclable and can be recycled endlessly without loss of quality. The main environmental benefit here is thermal. Melting cullet, that is, crushed recycled glass, requires a lower temperature than melting raw materials. Therefore, recycling uses far less energy, which lowers carbon emissions. Researchers are also looking at downcycling. For example, if glass is too dirty to be remelted, it can be crushed into a fine powder and used in the construction industry. It is becoming a popular additive in concrete, where it replaces sand and actually makes the resulting structure stronger. So, from volcanic tools to modern skyscrapers, the story of glass is.
That is the end of part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 4.